Good evening, good evening, good evening for all you Bills fans and all you Eagles fans and everybody else who's been watching football tonight. Good evening. If you haven't been watching football tonight, good evening. Again, my name is Willie A. Price. Willie A. Price Speaks, and welcome to A Better You Lifestyle. Tonight is Making Your House Your Home. And again, I'm your host, Willie A. Price. Willie A. Price Speaks. We are really going to talk about something that I've been posting on my page the last couple of months. Actually, this month has really been the last couple of weeks. I've really been posting a lot about it, but I started to gradually post about it about 2 months ago. The last, I want to say 3 months, the past 3 months, I have been in intense training. I post a lot of times, I talk about growing up and how I went to school. I like school. I like going to school to hang out with my friends. But as far as going to school and being in class and things like that, I really didn't have an interest in that, and I wasn't, I've never failed a class or never flunked and had to go to summer school because I was the kind of kid that I said I hated school so much that I was definitely not about to spend my summers in summer school. So I'd never been in summer school a day in my life, and I refused to fail a class where I couldn't play sports and, enjoy my summers. But growing up that way, it just kind of felt weird that all my life after graduating from college, I found myself constantly going back to school for something, for some kind of certification, some kind of trade, some kind of experience, some kind of something. And as a result of that, and I remember my stepfather, he told me, before he taught me how to buy real estate, one of the prerequisites he wanted me to graduate high school and go to college after, he taught me how to buy real estate. He said, this way, if it doesn't work out, you'll be able to have something to fall back on. And at the time, it didn't really make much sense to me. I heard what he said, but, as I got older, I started to realize what he meant by that. And so as I graduated from the University of Buffalo with a degree in mental health, and I worked in mental health, I was buying real estate after about 3 or 4 years. I started buying real estate and got to the point where I had 20 properties in the city of Buffalo. But I also started to go back to school. A kid who hated school, I started going back to different schools. I went to school to become a registered apartment manager. Then I went to school to become a home inspector. Then I went to school to become a weatherization inspector. Then I went to school to become a HUD inspector. Then a FEMA inspector. Then asbestos, weatherization, BPI. Then I went to school to become I went to school for construction management, then CAPS, and then universal design. So, I mean, I've been constantly going back to school. I went to some other trainings in between all those. But the thing was, I found myself constantly going back to school. And that kind of leads me into what I wanted to talk about tonight, because the last 2 months, you've been seeing me posting. And it all started with a construction management course I was taking. I ended up getting an invitation to take a construction management course in the city of New York City is where I was offered this course to take a construction management course in New York City online. And it was an 11-week, which turned out to 13 or 14 weeks. It turned out to be, it's supposed to be 11 weeks. And I think it ended up going to 13 or 14 weeks. But I ended up taking that. But during that time, I was consulting with an agency, helping them to monitor the rehab of homes in the city of Buffalo. And I started to notice that a lot of the homes that were being remodeled and modified were occupied by senior citizens. A lot of the homes were occupied by senior citizens and mostly senior women, and these women, 50, 60, mid 50s, 60s, 70, and some even in their 80s. One lady was in their 80s that they were modifying these homes and rehabbing these homes. And I would suggest that, sometimes they will put in a handrail or two handrails so they could get up and down the stairs. Or I would suggest that they put in a handheld shower instead of just a regular shower up on the wall, where it would be difficult for them to reach up and adjust the shower. And they wouldn't do it. They didn't do it. The construction guys didn't want to do it, and they would rewrite the scope of work for some of the things and not do what I suggested. And one day I was talking to a friend of mine. I was still taking this construction management course at the time, and I was talking to a friend of mine. And I was telling her about the situation, and I was saying a lot of these homes are senior homes, and I just, it concerns me that there's nothing being done to help these seniors in their homes. They're doing regular kitchens and regular bathrooms, and it really bothered me, the fact that they didn't. Hey, James, how you doing, man? And so when I was telling her about it, she said, "Have you ever heard of the CAPS program?" And I said, "No, what is the CAPS program?" She said, "It's called Certified Aging in Place Specialist, and it's helping seniors to live in their homes, to remain in their homes." It's a program that trains you, and is mostly taken by occupational therapists and people working in nursing homes, because they are the ones that work with seniors. So when they set up these nursing homes, they set up, for occupational therapists, they have these things for accessibility, to help the people to be able to get in and out of their homes. But there were no one doing what I was doing as a rehab specialist, which is what I was doing in consulting. There was nobody doing anything like that in that field. And so when she told me about it, I found the training through the National Association of Home Builders. And I want to share with you guys something that I posted this week on my page. After I share, I'm going to share this story with you. Then I'm going to share this when I have some information. And so I ended up going to take the class, Certified Aging in Place Specialist, through the National Association of Home Builders. And when I was telling the instructor, because she asked, why are you taking the course? What fields are you in? And when I told her, I said, I'm a rehab specialist. I consult, and I'm helping some agencies that are remodeling houses. And I see there's a big need for helping a lot of the senior clients that we have, to help them to stay in their homes. And she said to me, she said, you have 73 million clients waiting on you. And I said, 70,000? And she said, no, 73 million. 73 million clients. She said, you're the only person addressing aging in place in that manner. There's nobody doing it in that manner. Most of the people are occupational therapists or working in nursing homes, and you have a few construction people, but they don't actually go out and write up and assess the homes and write up what needs to be done. You have a few home designers that do that, but they don't do the inspection part of it. They don't go out and evaluate the homes and write up all the things, electrical, plumbing, all the things that will be done as a rehab specialist or home inspector or whatever field, that you want to consider. While I was taking that course, and so she recommended that I also take a course called Universal Design. And I said, well, what's the difference? And accessibility is the difference. Accessibility is for aging in place, because you want to make sure that the person can access all the areas of the home as a senior. So in and out of the house, as well as maneuver in throughout the house, getting up and down the stairs, getting into the bathroom, getting into the basement, getting into the bedrooms, wherever they needed to get into. That's considered accessibility. Universal design is where you make the home where anybody can use it. So it may have accessibility qualities and features, but it's not made to look like a nursing home. And so that's something that I've been really trying to get information out to people and explain to them the difference, because what's happening is when people hear aging in place and seniors, the first thing they think is a nursing home, and they don't want their homes to look like a nursing home. So this CAPS and universal design allows me to be able to provide a service where I can consult with and help people to set up their homes, whether it's your parents living with you or if the parents are living in their own home. Because sometimes the parents want to live in their own home, but they don't want their home looking like a nursing home. They don't want, grab bars all over the place. But there's so many things you can do. I found through taking this training and through just doing some research that can be done to help people to age in place and to remain in their homes. And so, I started taking this course. And then what I found after I took the universal design, which I just completed earlier this month, the instructor told me, she said, you're the only person in the country, in the United States, and probably internationally, that is doing what I'm doing. So I am the only CAPS and universal design rehab specialist in the country. And that's what she explained to me when I took this course. So I'm going to be actually taking another training called Train the Trainer, because I want to train other people in the areas of CAPS and universal design. And so they asked me, would I become a trainer? So probably next month, I'm going to take Train the Trainer going into January, New Year, and offer some training courses. But in the meantime, I'm actually going around and I'm doing awareness, sharing awareness. And this is where I want to talk about tonight. This week, I posted a post because I was doing some reading on aging in place. And I'm always getting newsletters and things now because I've joined a couple of different groups about aging in place. And one of the things that this article I wrote and the story article that I read and a little story that I wrote was about long-term care or long-term health care for seniors. A lot of people, as they get older, they start to buy health care insurance. So this way, as they get older, they'll have insurance to offset any Medicaid or any other services that they're going to need. But what in this article I found is that there's a lot of problems with long-term healthcare plans because people don't really understand them, and they don't realize that a lot of these plans don't have everything in place that they need as they get older. And a part of that is because, and there was a research done, a part of that is because these insurance companies back 60 and 70 and 80, in the 80s, they did not have the ideal that people would live as long as they're living now. Most people were living, if you think about it, people were dying 50, 60. If you lived to 70, you were considered old. You were doing good to live to be 70 years old. You got people these days now that are living 70, 80, 90, 100 years old. So imagine these people were not calculated into these insurance policies. So the insurance company figured, once they hit 60, 70, they're dead, the policy lapsed, and then, they save that money. But what's happening is these people are living into their 60s and 70s and 80s, and now the insurance company. So imagine if you live to your 80s and the insurance company is expecting you to die at least by 60, 65, you're looking at 15 years of additional care that these insurance companies have to pay for. And they had no idea that people would be living this long. So as a result, and from this article I was writing, that that during that survey, they found that what the insurance companies started doing was when people would apply, or make claims to get services under their policies, they were being denied. And they were being denied at a very, very high rate. And from the study that was done on 2021, persons in their 50s who were applying for or either trying to get claims on assistance because even in your 50s, you're starting to have some problems. Some people start to have problems. They may have arthritis, they may have diabetes, they may have glaucoma. There's so many things that can happen to you as you start to age. And that's what people don't realize. Aging in place means more than just getting old. You may start to lose your vision. You may start to get to a point where you can't turn a doorknob. So you might need levers. So these are all the things that are called universal and aging in place. And so People in their 50s, 1 in 5 were denied claims or policies at the age of 50. At the age of 60 to 64, 1 out of 3 were denied for any kind of claims or services through their long-term healthcare providers. And then for people in their 70s to 74, now just remember, this was what I was just talking about earlier, 70 to 74, 1 out of every 2 people were denied for claims. Okay, this was a survey that was done in 2021. Now, that's where the survey ended. But remember earlier I said these insurance companies weren't expecting people to go into their 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And you see, the survey stopped at age 70 to 74. So even in the surveys, they weren't expecting or even calculating information about people in their 80s and 90s or even in their hundreds. So that's 3 age groups that are still around that are requiring services that aren't being met. So, what happens is these people end up forced to pay for additional health care out of their pockets, out of their savings. Their children have to get together and chip in every month to pay. And in the article, the family that their mom, she wanted to stay in her home instead of going into a nursing home because she wanted to be around her friends and her family and the neighborhood that she grew up in and her home and stay in her home. And as a result of that, they are paying. Okay, she's 90. I think she's 91. Is she 91? She's 91. I believe she's 91 now. But they started paying in her 80s or 70s, somewhere around 4,000. Right now, they're paying $4,000 a month for to cover the additional funds needed for her to age in place in her home because they didn't prepare and didn't have things in place, and the insurance companies won't cover it. $4,000 a month. That's $48,000 a year. A year. Now imagine they've been doing this for at least 10 years. At least 10 years. Because I believe they said they started doing it like in the 70s or in the 80s when she was 70 or 80 years old. So at least 10 plus years, they've been paying $48,000 a year for additional aids and things that weren't covered under the policy. And they didn't know these things weren't covered under the policy because, of course, we apply for, life insurance, healthcare insurance, but we don't sit down and read what all is covered under that. We think we have insurance, and we think insurance, we're covered. Car insurance, we're covered. Life insurance, we're covered. Healthcare insurance, we're covered. But in reality, if you don't read that policy, and a lot of times you don't know what you need also. So that's the other thing. You don't realize you're going to need, whatever it is, wheelchairs or walkers or healthcare aids or, whatever the case may be, lifts to put yourself in the bed, lifts to get up the stairs, lifts to get into the house, if that's the case, or ramps or whatever the case, you don't realize those things you're going to need until you need them. So as you get older, that's what the CAPS and the universal design does, is come in and interview you to see where you are in your 50s and 60s, what healthcare, what health issues you're having, 70s, what health issues are you having? And for me, I do what is called without urgent need. I don't do urgent need. So I don't come in and I don't do things where it's a person who's already in a disability state where they really have difficulties, getting into the house, or they're in a lift, those kind of things where it's immediate care for them. I do without urgent need, which means a person is getting older and there's some things that need to be done to help them to prepare to age in that home. So they've just found out they have diabetes and starting to have some problems. They may have glaucoma or starting to have glaucoma, or they may have had a heart attack and have some issues. So, I mean, there's things that are developing. That's what I do. That's the area that I cover. I do that because it's a lot easier for me to help you prepare for that type of living situation versus me trying to address an immediate need for you to have lifts and elevators and different things put into your home to help you to get up and down and around the house. And elevators are one of the things we talk about, elevators and chutes and different things. I mean, there's a lot of new things out there, new technology out there that can help you. And a lot of those things are universal design. So it doesn't look like a nursing home. You're looking like you've got this updated technical house, and it's actually helping you to prepare for aging in place in that home because it's allowing you to be able to access all the areas that you need, as well as continue to be a house that doesn't look like a nursing facility. So, like I said, when I talk about this, when I share with people, like I was sharing with a lady today in Rochester, and I said to her, I was a CAPS and Universal Design Essentials Rehab Specialist. And she looked at me, I said, now say to me, what is CAPS, Willie? And she said, what is CAPS, Willie? And I explained to her. As soon as I explained that to her, she started to run off. And that's what happens when I tell people about CAPS and Universal Design, especially when I say CAPS and what it is and what it does and who it serves. People start to talk about their parents. They start to talk about themselves. They start to talk about ideas that they've been thinking about that they need to start preparing to age. You know, they're starting to have, concerns about being able to age in their homes because of the way the home is set up. But people don't realize that this service is available, that this is out there. And like I said, for me, I am going to be taking a training so I can help train other people to go out and do CAPS, modifications, remodeling. I don't want to do a lot of that. I want to do more information. I want to do more about making people aware of CAPS and universal design and how it will benefit them. So if you have a job where you would like for me to come out and speak to your employees, because your employees are getting older, and the money you save by helping them to prepare to age in place and universal design and modify the home is money that's going to be saved later with their insurance policies, because now they won't be as quick to have to go into a nursing home, or their homes won't be suitable for them to remain in them a lot longer. So they may be able to, because of modifications and preparation, be able to live in that house 5-10 years longer, which means that's less time that they would have to spend in a nursing home or any kind of facility. Excuse me one second. I made some lemon tea, so I forgot about it. But this is what universal design and CAPS is all about. We are getting older every day. You don't get younger every day, you're getting older every day. Preparing to be older, preparing to remain in your home, age in place, preparing to be able to maneuver throughout your house, to get in and out of your house. That should be a priority for you, especially if you bought a home and you're in your 30s or your 40s and you just finally bought a home. You think about it, you want to at least live in that house till you're 70, 75. So when you're 70, 75, the home that you're living in, is that home, so if you look around that home, is it suitable for you to live into your 70s and 70 and 80-year-old age group, 60s? Is that home set up prior to that, properly for that? A lot of people don't think about that. They walk into a home and they look at it based on what they want now. But you have to walk in and look at it for the long term. Okay, I'm going to be paying this mortgage for the next 30 years and I am 35 years old. That means, so at least I'm planning to be here till at least I'm 65, maybe 70. Okay, 65, maybe 70. So where are you in that home? How are you going to get around that home? Is that home set up for you to be able to get around in your 60s and 70s? Those are things that you need to think about. And that's where the awareness comes in. And that's where the consulting comes in, where I come out and I sit down with you and we look at your home and determine some of the things you can do to help you to age in place in that home. I reached out a lot of times when I talk to people and I share about CAPS and universal design. The first thing they want to know is, well, is there any money available for me to do this? What if there isn't? What if there isn't any money available anywhere for you to do this other than out of your pocket? What are you going to do? Either way, you're still going to need it. Either way, you're still going to need it. I understand we all were looking for programs and assistance to help us, at one point or another, or some people need that kind of assistance. But what if there isn't? What are you going to do? You're still going to need it. So you may want to start saving. You may want to start doing little things. That's why it's important to have an evaluation done and an assessment done and a consultation done prior to needing it. So that way you can at least start to prepare by doing little things to help you to be ready for the long term. And there are I've been checking around and there's not very many programs that are funding aging in place or universal design. And the reason why is because I told you, I am the only one as a rehab specialist in the country. So that means very few agencies understand what CAPS and universal design is. Medicaid doesn't pay for any of the modifications, but they'll pay for you to go into a nursing home and pay thousands of dollars for you to go to a nursing home. But imagine if they took some of that same money and helped you to modify your home so you can age in that home. It will be a lot less expensive for them to do that. But because they're not aware of the benefits of CAPS and universal design, they don't do it. After being asked about this, about funding and funding available, I reached out to different housing agencies, and again, the same situation. A lot of them aren't interested in it because they don't know about CAPS. They never heard of it, and they're not aware. They know that these people that they're working with are seniors. Most of them are seniors. Most of your homeowners are 50 and above, and 79% of your homeowners are in their 60s to 70-year-old age group. Okay, 60 to 70-year-old age group are 74 to 79% of the homeowners in the country. So again, you're talking about aging in place, and how many of those people end up having to leave their homes because they can't maneuver through the house. They have to get a wheelchair, or they get a motorized wheelchair, which is a whole different situation, which requires some other modifications in the home. And that's just for aging in place. So, I mean, you have to look at all those things, and that's what we talk about. And that's what my role is, to bring awareness to the need for people to start planning to remain in their homes, to age in place in their homes. That's what this whole aging in place and universal design is all about, is making home accessible, but also making it usable for everybody that's in the house, or even usable for yourself. So it doesn't have to look like a nursing home, but it's prepared and set up in a manner that if things are needed or things are starting to change in your life where you're going to need some assistance in the home, is already set up in place. So again, I'm still reaching out to some financial organizations who provide housing assistance to see if there's some monies available to help, or even convincing them to start applying. Because the ones I talk to, they have the money to give to those seniors that I'm talking about, but they don't want to give it to them to have the home modified for aging in place. They don't want to do that because the contractors don't want to do it. It's not so much that the money's not there. The contractors aren't trained in a manner to be able to do the work the way it's supposed to be done, because there's certain specs you have to meet in order to do home modifications with handicap accessibility in mind, or senior housing in mind, or universal design in mind. And so that's why I'm taking this trainer to help train some construction people, help train different organizations, Habitat for Humanity, working with organizations like Home Depot, who has like programs to help fix up homes. All those organizations will need to learn more about CAPS and universal design. So that's something that I'm going to be doing going forward in the near future. So I'm working on doing some things and putting some programs together, but bringing awareness is what my goal and my role is right now, is bringing awareness to the need for people to start looking around their home to see, is my home going to be able to last me the next 20 to 30 years? Am I going to be able to live in this home for the next 20, 30 years? As I get 60 and 70 and 80 years old, am I going to be able to stay in this house, or am I going to have to leave because I have no way to maneuver through my house? I can't open my doors. I can't get up and down the stairs. I can't get into my bathtub, whatever the case may be. Am I going to be able to age in place in my home? That's what CAPS means, certified aging in place. Am I going to be able to age in place in my home? Am I going to be able to live in my home for the long run? You don't want to buy a home at 40 and 30 and 40 and 50 years old, and then 10 years or 15 years later, you find that you can't live in the home anymore because you can't get around in the house. You can't access everything in the house. You can't move throughout the house. You can't see in the house, so those are the things that you really need to look at as you start to age in your home. And that's, like I said, that's for young people, 30, 40, 50 years old. You need to start looking around your house and determine, is this house going to be able to keep me? Am I going to be able to stay in this house into my 60s and my 70s, into my 80s, So those are the things you need to look at. Certified aging in place specialist, universal design, rehab specialist. I am the only CAPS and universal design essentials rehab specialist in the country. Feels good to say that, but it's going to be a tough road to travel because people are not aware of what CAPS and universal design is. The University of Buffalo actually just started teaching universal design programs at the university to their architecture and their engineering students, because that is becoming something that is very prevalent now in housing, is universal design. And you can combine that with handicap accessibility. They all kind of fall in line together. Handicap accessibility, aging in place, and universal design. They're all have similar attributes, but at the same time, they're all different as well. So learning them, I don't want to do handicap accessibility because, like I said, I don't want to do urgent need. I want to be without urgent need. So helping people to prepare for those situations. People Inc. is an agency that I heard provides fund, but they provide funding for handicaps, for people who are handicapped or need service, services like lifts and things like that. But like I said earlier, it's more than just lifts and ramps. So helping them to become more aware of CAPS and universal design is also going to be a task of mine in 2024. So again, this is just an introduction. I'm going to be talking about CAPS and universal design and housing in different aspects throughout the year of 2024, 2025. And as I grow and develop and learn more about this, and I'm going to be writing articles and submitting them to different organizations and different newsletters and different outlets so people can be more aware. Because like I said, I'm bringing awareness to the subject and not trying to go out and recruit clients and things like that. And I will help some people. If you want, information about me coming out, doing a consultation for you and doing an assessment for you, we can do that. But that's not my priority right now. My priority right now is awareness. So if you have any agencies or organizations that would like for someone to come out and do speakings and trainings, and I'm not doing them for free. So don't ask me if I'm doing them for free. They're not free. I don't speak for free anymore. So these are paid speaking invitations, and depending on what you want me to, how long you want me to speak and what I'm speaking about, it's going to be affordable because I'm doing this for awareness, not for making a living or making money. So again, Willie A. Price speaks, caps and universal design essentials, the only caps and universal design essentials rehab specialist in the country. I have that designation, as well as I took construction management. So add that onto there, and I'm the only one in the country doing all three of those as a rehab specialist. So it just, again, makes myself a specialist, an expert. And I'm going to become an expert in caps and universal design as I get more efficient and proficient in the areas of the skills and the information that's needed. So again, start to look at your home and figure out, for yourself, what am I going to be able to age in place in this home? Am I going to be able to stay in this home for the long term? Those are things you need to look at. Those are things you need to think about. Your kitchens, your bathrooms, your hallways, up and down the stairs. Those are things you need to look at, and how accessible and how usable are they for you as well as anybody else that needs to get into your home. Again, my name is Willie A. Price. Willie A. Price Speaks, a better you lifestyle, making your house your home. Our next show will be, where will I be? I'm going to try to do it. I'm not going to be in the area, so I may have to do a pre-recording for that one. It'll be Understanding Your You, which is always the first Sunday of every month. So it'll be Understanding Your You. So it may be pre-recorded, but it will be something that you guys will enjoy. We're going to talk about understanding your you. Willie A. Price Speaks. You guys have a blessed day. Start joining us, watching our A Better You Lifestyle workouts. I didn't do the workout this morning because I was out of town and it wasn't set up for me to do the workout. So I will be doing the workout 7 o'clock Monday through Friday of this month. Hopefully, maybe not on Wednesday, but we'll see. I'll figure something out as well for that. You guys have a blessed day, and I will see you next Sunday.